Good night, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bouyon. This is our second episode for the year 2022. And of course, I am very pleased to have with me my guest tonight, Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips, who's joining us tonight. She is, I don't know if you guys remember, but she has been on this show before. I think this is your third appearance on our show, right? On Bouyon. So you're a regular now, right? You're a seasoned campaigner for Bouyon. So good night. Let me just first welcome you to Bouyon. So good night and welcome to Bouyon again. I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience a little bit about yourself for the individuals who are joining us for the first time.
Good night, good night, good night. Thank you. I'd like to say good night to your audience. It is indeed a pleasure. This feels like home, Peter, to be on your show. It's home. And so I want to say good night, who I am. I am a midwife of purpose. I am also the CEO of the Life Changer Center. We're a healing and holistic wellness center where we empower individuals to take them to the next best version of themselves. And so I'm also the executive director of the Dream Big College, which is a nonprofit organization which really empowers teens to also become change makers in their community. I am a transformational life and spiritual coach, and I'm on a mission to empower individuals to the next best version of themselves. And I'm just a regular person.
And that's what it's about tonight. It's about helping us, every year, like myself, and I'm sure there are thousands of people like myself who always try to figure, oh, the year has started. So now we have to make our New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
We have things we want to accomplish. So we start with a bang in the new year. So we say, boom, I want to do X, Y, and Z. We start with a bang, and we say we're going to stick to our target, right? And somewhere, maybe a month, 2 months into the new year, we just fall by the wayside. Maybe because our targets were just too big, or maybe because we didn't break it down, or maybe we didn't plan it well enough. Right. And I'm hoping tonight, the objective of this show tonight is to help individuals plan better.
Yes.
That's what we want to do.
Yes.
But before we go into the meat of the matter, and before I ask you to explain to me what is a vision board, because I think that's where we lead in tonight about the vision board. Before I ask you to explain what is a vision board to us, let me just say good night to the individuals who have joined us. So I want to say good night to Martha, Colin, Pearl, Digital Bashman, good night to you. Nadine Farrell, good night. Good night. I just want to thank everybody who have joined us tonight. Thank you so much for being part of Bouyon and for being in, day out. Every time we have Bouyon, I see some of those regular faces. Sometimes I see new ones, but I want to say good night and thank you guys for joining us. So yes, Dr. Evans, tell us what is a vision board exactly and what is it supposed to do?
So in technicality, a vision board is just a visual representation of your goals. So it's a poster board or a digital board. Now we do digital boards now, where you select images, quotes, pictures, power phrases that represents your vision for that specific time period or year. So that's what it is. So that's what's a vision board,
So let me ask, because I'm kind of one of these people that thinking, does it really work? Does a vision board really work? Does it accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish?
Well, by itself, no. By itself, no, it doesn't. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about here tonight. Before you even get to the point of designing your vision board, you need to really identify what are your goals first for that specific year or time period. So it is important that first you assess your life and decide exactly what your goals are. Then based on your goals and strategies, then you look for a visual representation to really help you, to remind you of what are some of those goals that you are striving for. So it's almost like the end product of a process.
Okay. Let's just Colin Dennis just said yes, it works if you're
Hi,
intentional about
Colin.
accomplishing your goals.
That's my cousin,
That's your cousin. Good night, Colin. I'm saying,
Coach Colin.
sorry.
She's a coach, Coach Colleen.
Oh, Coach Colleen. Okay. Because I was about to say, this is the first time I'm seeing this individual on my show. I kind of remember the people who I
She's
see
also St.
regularly.
Lucian too.
So yeah. Okay. Leona Joseph, good night to you.
Hi,
So
Leona.
so like you said, it only works if you
It works
plan
in
properly. And I
complement. It works
right.
in complement with other things.
Okay. And I remember when we were talking, you kind of broke it down into stages, kind of like making me understand how the process works. So I don't know if at this point you want to probably go into stage
Yes.
one and kind of explain the stages that you go through when planning.
Yes. So, in thinking about the year 2022, and working with my clients, what I realized that a lot of individuals get stuck on a wheel. Every year they have these elaborate goals, these elaborate plans, right? But what happens, like you said, somewhere throughout the year it fails. So what happens? And so in before we even get to the point of saying let's talk about a vision board, I wanted us to talk about what is a couple of questions we need to ask. One, what does the next best version of ourselves look like? Okay, so that's the question we need to ask, right? And so that's A. And B, the second thing you need to do is assess where you are. You're going to assess your highs and your lows. And based on that, there is something called the gap. What is the gap? And the gap will be your goals and strategies to get to that process. And so in assessing the gap and in assessing your highs and lows, I always ask my clients exactly, talk to me a little bit about breakthroughs. When we hear the word breakthroughs, let's talk about 2021. Did you have any breakthroughs? People may say yes, people may say no. But what I'm here to let individuals know that breakthrough is a process. Okay? Breakthrough is a process. And so as we are planning and preparing for 2022, I wanted them to start thinking about through as a journey, and then exactly how can I get towards the end of the breakthrough, which is the elevation stage, towards making a difference and setting goals for 2022.
So let me ask you, Doc, let me ask you, because sometimes when we, as much as we have assessed, we see where we are, we're probably thinking about what the best version, what we would like the best version of us to be, right? We go about and we set goals, but sometimes we get discouraged along the way because the goals that we set sometimes are just too high and they're not attainable. So we fall by and we all just look so sad and like the world is just crumbled on us, right?
Exactly.
So how is it that, or how does one think about when they think about their goals, how can we plan to ensure that the goal that we are planning is not beyond our reach and is really attainable? It's not too low, nor is it too high. It's right there that we can actually achieve it. What is it that we need to think about when we set these goals?
And so it goes back to breakthrough. It goes back to the process of breakthrough. And when we're looking at life, right? When we look at our life, there's so many dimensions to our lives, right? There is health, there is wealth, there is finances, there are relationships, there is mental health. There's so many different aspects to our lives, right? And so it's important that we really assess our life to see exactly where we are in terms of what we want to accomplish in our lives. And so I go back to the same breakthrough process, the understanding that breakthrough is a journey. And what a person has to do is to identify where are you on that journey. So there are three stages in breakthrough. The first stage, what happens in life, sometimes we go through processes in terms of like pressure and trauma and so many things. And a lot of us just spin and spin and spin and spin. And what my vision is for individuals to break through out of those cycles. And in order for them to break through out of those cycles, they need to identify where they are along that breakthrough journey. First stage is restore to heal. So that's stage one. And that's where you intentionally take action towards your healing and your restoration towards wellness. The second stage of breakthrough is reposition. That's where you are building to move towards activating your spirit. That's where you take intentional action to really restore, to really reposition your life. And the third one is reconstitute. That's where you are ready to create impact to help the lives of others and seek opportunities. So let me give you an example. So let's say for me, one of my goals in my business goals, I'm at a level 3 in terms of ready to create impact. So as I look at my vision board and I set my goals, I assess exactly where I am. Am I at stage 1? Am I at stage 2? Am I at stage 3? So I know I'm at a stage 3 in terms of my business. So I am going to set goals regarding that part. Let's say my health and wellness. My vision this year is to really restore and to really reposition my health and wellness. That means I need to exercise. So I know I'm at a level 2. So it's important that we know, assess the different dimensions of our lives and set realistic goals based on where we are. And once we're able to set those goals, then what we do, we develop strategies on a quarterly basis and assess them to get to that goal.
You made a very good point here. And I don't know if my audience heard what I heard. And basically, what you just said to me is that sometimes in our life, in the different parts of our lives, for instance, finance, love, work, whatever, we may be at different stages.
Yes.
We may be fully content with our love life. However,
Exactly.
our financial life is suffering. So
Correct.
when we plan accordingly.
Right.
I'm thinking that's what I got from what you just said.
That is good. So when we're assessing, right? When we assess, and we need to assess, because the goal of breakthrough is to get to a point of elevation. And so that's why I said it's a process. So you'll go from stage 1, step 2, step 3 in each dimension of your life. So you need to look at your life and say, okay, my vision is to get to go through the breakthrough process to get to an elevation stage. Elevation is where you have the shift into the next dimension. So if you understand that I am going through a process, it's not just a one-time outcome. You are going to take intentional steps. So shifting your mindset to say, this is a journey. This is not a one-time occurrence.
Yeah. It's a journey. It's a marathon, right?
Yes, and it's a mindset. And then you assess, am I at level 1? Am I at level 2? Am I at level 3? And once you're able to assess where you are, then you could then intentionally set those goals to get to the next stage.
Okay. I have another question for you, but let's say hi to the individuals who are here tonight, because this is an interactive show and we want you guys to share your views and share whatever or ask whatever questions that you want answered. And Kieran, I want to say good night to you. Welcome. Virginia Marsley, good night. Nadine Farrell, good night. And yes, we will deal with your situation. I think Mr. Innocent took care of you tonight. So my apologies about last night, but yeah. I also want to, Frances Rob, good night to you. Priska D, good night. And guys, I just like to shout out everyone who are here, because without you guys, the show would not be possible. And we thank you so much for your contribution and for your being here. So, Dr. Evans, would it be fair to say that we can, I have a goal. My goal, right. Let's just assume my goal is to make $1 million in 2022, right?
Right. Okay. Let's take that. Yeah. Let's go.
Let's just say that's my goal, right?
Yeah.
So would it be fair to say that we can have a big goal, that's the main goal, and then we can break that goal down into smaller goals? How do we move from step 1, step 2, step 3 to get to that point of making that $1 million?
But even before we do that, I need to assess, and I always assess where you were last year with money. Because you know what?
Because I was broke last year with money, so I want to make some more this year.
And so I'm not going to set you up for failure if last year, you had some serious financial difficulties. So I'm going to assess on the stages of breakthrough, where you are. Maybe you need to take baby steps where you need to shift your mindset about money. And that's the healing stage first. So you need to really assess where you are with money, right? Are you saving or whatever? So we're going to assess that. Or you may be at a stage 2 where you know exactly, you know what, you take a percentage of your whatever and you're able to save it. You may be at a building stage. Or you may be at a stage 3 where you are ready to look at other opportunities, right? And let's say you're ready to invest in buying a house and all those things like that. That's the stage 3. So you see exactly, you need to assess exactly, yes, you may have, so the next best version of yourself is to be a millionaire. Okay, nice. But where are you realistically? And on a scale of level 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to assess where you're at. Because the goal is to get you to shift you to the next level. So you cannot jump from a level 1 to a level 3.
I got
I'm going
you.
to set you up for failure.
And I think you just got confirmation here from Colin Dennis, who just said you need to set realistic goals.
Yes.
So she just said, Peter, if you were making $50,000 last year, how do you intend to make 1 million this year? It may not be a realistic goal if there's not an avenue to make that money, right? So maybe it might be a case of thinking, how do we move that $1 million to, sorry, that 50K to make maybe 100K or something more realistic, and then work towards ultimate goal, right? So again, setting, I think it's important, the point that you're making, assessing and making sure that we set realistic goals.
Because what happens is that life happens, and a lot of get stuck with life and the pressures. So we're not going to navigating through life, and that's where a lot of our people get stuck through. How do I navigate life? How do I set goals? And yet I have all those additional pressures and traumas I'm dealing with. So my vision is to see if we're able to go through those traumas, assess where we are in life, and then move on. I've also set a formula in terms of, for anyone who's looking to set goals, I've set a formula in terms of the types of goals that one should consider as they are going through in terms of developing a vision for themselves. One, I would always say, assess where you are, your highs and your lows. Set a high goal in terms of an area in your life, right, where you are prospering or you are moving. So I would say set a goal to break that glass ceiling. So let's say that you're really doing well in terms of your fitness. So you may decide, you know what, this year I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to run a marathon. Then set another goal based on an area where you're not doing well in. And say, you know what, this year I'm going to make sure that I'm able to move to that next stage. So that's one. That's two. The other goal I want everyone to start thinking about, and it's creating the balance between body, mind, and spirit, is set a goal where you could connect with your spirit. And whether you may do that weekly or bi-weekly, it's imperative that as we set goals for ourselves, that we set one of these goals where we connect body, mind, and spirit. And the fourth goal I'd like everyone to do is to engage in some type of service. What it does is that it takes you out of your current state and helps you start thinking about each other, because we're moving into a holistic person and creating balance between body, mind, and spirit. So as you set your goals, make sure, one, that you set a goal in an area that you're progressing or reconstitute goal. Two, in an area where you need to restore or you need to continue building to create that balance. Three, and a goal for body, mind, and spirit. And a fourth goal in terms of being of service.
Thank you for that. Let me just say let me just say hi to Thomas Innocent. Thomas, good night to you, brother. And he just said, you can't move from level 1, but if you have a cheat code, he was being funny. If you have a cheat code, how can you, if you have a cheat code, then you could probably accomplish that $1 million. But we want to do it the legal way anyways, right? Right, Ali? Yes. I think maybe I'm going back a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about, you indicated gaps.
Yes.
And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. You say assessing the gaps.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk us through what it is really like to assess the gap, assessing the gaps or looking at the gaps, and talk to us about that.
So let's go with let's say I want to run a 10K and I haven't even started exercising. So what I would do, I would assess the gap. There's a gap that I need to do. There's a gap between getting off the couch to the 10K. And so that's the gap.
So hold on. So the gap is I have my current situation where I'm at
And the next best
and
version.
where I want to get for my next
Correct.
best version of me, right?
Yes.
And then the gap is the in-betweens. What do I
Correct.
need to do from there?
Correct.
But is it like one leap from here to there, or is it like several leaps?
And that's where the stages of breakthrough comes through. That's where the stages come through. So it's important for you to realize, because what happens it's a mindset shift. Once you understand that you are going through, it helps you realize that, you know what, I am making intentional progress. Some people can do it automatically, but some people it may not work. So it's important for them to understand that there are different stages. Now, what happens, I want to share something. What happens with some people, you may realize that sometimes you're able to go from your rate of recovery from one situation to another is faster. But you may realize that some people, they were like, I'm not getting any breakthroughs in my life. What happens?
I felt like that today.
Well, no, not necessarily. And that's why it's important for you to assess where you are in terms of your breakthrough. So breakthrough is not a final product. Elevation is the end product. Breakthrough is the journey.
Elevation is the final product.
Yes.
So elevation is the place you want to be at. I'm just
yes.
trying to
So
see
when you
if I
get to
understand,
elevation, you've just
I want to
mastered the
understand. I want to
breakthrough.
understand this because I'll tell you what, right? When I was thinking of this show, right, I was like, every year I try to kind of think about something. I kind of think about my life, where it was or where it has been, and how do I progress from the stage it is there now, and how do I make myself better? How do I accomplish more? And one of the things I find to be one of my enemies is procrastination, because I always leave things for a later date, and then that comes to bite me. You know how bad that is, right? So I was like thinking, and I was like, this would be a nice show. And one person I thought of I should call was you. And and it was so, it was so ironic that we were on the same page at that time.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I'm trying to, for me saying this, I'm trying to understand for myself as well. And I'm sure that my audience out there want to understand it as well. So bear with me when I ask those questions that kind of bringing you back to everything you may have discussed earlier
it's critical.
on.
It's
but
important
I'm just
that
trying
we
to get a
understand.
better understanding. So at the end of this show, we can actually think of how we can create a vision board, how we can actually plan for something in the future, and how we're not going to set goals that will make us feel like failures. Because that's what happens. When you set a goal and you're unable to accomplish that goal, you kind of beat up on yourself and you feel that you're a failure, right?
Right. So the key word, I think the key word that's going to help everybody is that, and as you think about 2022, say, I am mastering my breakthroughs. I am mastering my breakthroughs. And so when you say that you're mastering your breakthroughs, you are intentionally pushing through your breakthroughs. Because what happens is that we get stuck in many cycles in life. Some people are doing well where they're able to break glass ceilings. And so everybody needs to break a glass ceiling to the next best version of yourself, because there's so much more inside of us. There's so much more. But what happens, sometimes we put ourselves in a box, right?
Right.
But what happens is that why some people have difficulty mastering their breakthroughs is that what happens is that either they become stagnant in a stage, right? They become stagnant in a stage, or they decay and die in a stage.
They decay and die in a stage.
Yes. Yes. And why that happens, it all goes back to your coping skills. It all goes back to your internal and external supports. So why you see somebody still doing the same thing over year in, year out, year in, year out. And so they're still at that stage, they haven't progressed.
But let me ask you, this is so interesting to me, right? But how do you move from that stage where you're so stagnant? How do you move from that stage to maybe taking that leap that will propel your life? How? Because sometimes we're so held back there, we don't know how to make that leap.
Yes, very simple. So when we look at life, when we look at an individual, right, we look at the word resiliency. Because we're navigating, the winds of life. We're navigating the waves of life, right? Let's look at the COVID situation. And a lot of people can become stagnant because there's so much coming at them, right? There's so much coming at them. And so internally, you haven't got the stamina to push yourself through against those winds of life, right? So therefore, like a building which has a weak foundation, you need a scaffold. And what's the scaffold? Maybe you need therapy, or you need a life coach like me, or you need somebody, some external structure. Maybe you need to go to church, maybe you need prayers. Whatever it is, you need an external support that's going to give you that confidence, that's going to build you up to let you know that you are worthy.
That you can do it.
Yes.
Wow.
Because internally, you no longer, or you do not possess what it takes to push forward.
I'm really liking this show, man, because you know what you just said there to me, and I know of people who sometimes, maybe because of their upbringing, maybe because of the things they've gone through in life, maybe because of the fact that people have looked down on them, and they feel that they're worth nothing, or they will become nothing, that has kept them down.
Yeah.
And what you said something there which is so powerful, is like you need that external force,
yes,
that positive force, that positive energy. Because maybe, saying that sometimes it may mean changing the friends that you have.
Whatever, or get that help.
Get the help that you need.
Yes.
To push you.
So as you're thinking about goals for 2022, it's important for us to assess where you are now. Because you could have all those grand goals, and where are you in life? So it's important that you first assess where you are.
That's a good one. You have me thinking tonight, You always do that to me, right? Make all my grades show even more. Let's just say good night to the individuals who are with us tonight. And I want to say, Adela, good night. Thank you. And Happy New Year to you. You're always here. Thank you so much. Cheryl Bryce, good night to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Nadine Farrell, we got you. Thomas Innocent said, how can we be self-reliant without having to depend on an external source?
It's all based on your inside. And remember, we are all interdependent in this world. No man is an island, right? Because if you were an island,
all by yourself. I'm here, brother. I'm here to support you, all right?
If you were an island, you would have been your own physician. You would have been your own this. You would have been your own everything. That's why everyone has skills and talents, and everyone has a specific occupation, because we are all interdependent, and we need each other in this ecosystem.
Yeah. Gemma Things Change Williams says, sometimes the type of people that's in your circle always plays a part in achieving one's goal and a vision. So just as you were saying, that we need sometimes, if we cannot do it, because some of us can push ourselves to the limit. We can do it definitely on our own, and some of us just can't, right? So
right.
Let's think about someone who's struggling, because they've always felt that they're not good enough. So they would need that extra help, right, to help push them through.
But also, I want to also, let's not look at an individual as a whole in terms of where they are in terms of well, these are individuals who are really struggling. But when we look at dimensions of our lives, let's look at it in dimensions of our lives. Okay. As an individual, there are areas where that you are mastering, and there are areas where you know that you need to move to the next level. So as you progress and set your goals, also assess yourselves too. What areas, what are the dimensions of your life that you also need to master? So this, and maybe it means that, let's say, whether it's finances, maybe you need to, maybe let's say you need to restore your credit, or you want to buy a house. So you need to go and talk to whoever you need to talk to figure out exactly how to restore your credit. And that's starting at level 1. Yes, you may have the great job, but you need, you know what I'm saying? So there are different dimensions. So assess your life in dimensions.
So let's talk a little bit about strategy.
Yes.
How do we formulate a strategy to accomplish what we want to accomplish?
I love that question. So let's say, okay, I plan my life in quarters. So Let's give an example. So let's talk about wanting to lose weight or a marathon or something like that. So let's say I have a goal, right?
Like I have a friend of mine who wants to lose a tummy, right?
Okay.
Stomach.
So let's say, and I'm just gonna just, it may not be specific, but I have a goal. Let's say I want to run a 5K in 2022. Okay. So your overarching goal is what, a 5K, right? So in the first quarter, January, February, March, I would set a goal based on that 5K. So maybe the first goal is get off the couch and maybe do 30 minutes every day, right? As I move into February, maybe it would be 60 twice a week or something. By the time I'm reaching to March, it may be 4 days a week. I am jogging. I assess that. How did it go? So let's say I give myself 4 stars for doing everything. I assess my goals. I did very well. Maybe I didn't do well. Okay. I think one of the goals is to see your physician first. Second quarter, you set higher goals based on that 5K. Third quarter, you do the same. By the time you get into your last quarter, you should be able to master that goal.
So
Does that make sense?
you take it in stages.
Yes, because what happens is that we get lost in the year. And that goal might just disappear.
Or maybe sometimes too, maybe that's one of the problems with me too. Maybe because it's a case where you know what you want to accomplish overall, but then it becomes more daunting if you just look at the big picture instead of if you break it down.
Strategies.
And as you start to break it down, you realize, wow, I couldn't run 100 yards without breathing hard. Now I could run
Yes.
a mile, you know? So yeah.
So on your vision board, you're gonna put 5K. You get it, right? So on your vision board, you're gonna put 5K, right?
Right.
But in your notes, on your paper, on your whatever your planning sheet, you're actually gonna write the strategies.
Oh.
So you see how they work hand in hand.
Oh, I got you. So let me ask you. When I'm thinking of a vision board,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I want to list my wants. I
Mm-hmm.
want to list my needs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to list the in-betweens as well.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work on a vision board?
And it all goes back to the assessments. Because you also have to say what's realistic. How many goals can I accomplish in 1 year? So the formula I give is always go with one of the things that you're really mastering, an area that you really want to strengthen. So that would always make sure that you are mastering your breakthroughs. So let's talk about what are your needs. Give me some more specifics.
What are who? My needs?
Yeah, well, what got an example of what you were saying, like your wants, your needs, your
right. So let's just say one of my wants might be to work with Watch Radio and make Bouyon one of the best shows, right, in New York City. All right.
Okay.
And I don't know if I that's kind of like a want because it's not a need. So my need would most likely be to make sure I have food on my table and a job. That would be a need, right? Mm-hmm. But wanting to make Bouyon as big as it can possibly be would be a want. For me personally, it's kind of a need as well. But I think if I tell people that, they'll think it's more of a want than a need.
No. Remember the formula. In terms of, we're looking at goals in terms of restoring. We're looking at goals in terms of repositioning. We're looking at goals in terms of reconstituting. Reconstituting is expanding yourself, right? And so you will have an overall goal in terms of your professional life, in terms of the radio station, by making all those collaborations, right? And by doing that, you're expanding yourself to the next best version of yourself. Right?
Right.
So definitely you're going to go after that goal. But you also know financially that you also need to put food on the table as well, right?
Right.
So the question is, that's where you're going to continue building, and you're going to continue doing what you need to do. So this is already automatic.
So, right. So okay. So we're saying there are things that are automatic that will just keep happening because
Yes.
it's a must. It's a have to.
Yes.
That's survival instinct here.
Yeah, building. Only if, let's say, you may have some goals where, you know what, professionally in the job, I need to change jobs, I need to increase or whatever it is. So these are things that are automatic and that you're going to do
Okay, I got you.
because you have to breathe. It's like breathing.
I know, right? You don't have a choice, right? I once have a friend of mine who said, you can die short of breath, right? But your body's not going to allow you to stop breathing anyway if it can help it. Um, let's talk about our time is kind of moving along, so let's talk a little bit about the actual vision board and the actual process in organizing a vision board and how a vision board should look and how a vision board should actually, I like to say that how a vision board should feel. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but how it should feel to you when you set it out there. Where should it be highlighted in your home? Should it be hidden? Should it be somewhere that people can see it? Should it be, questions like that?
It's all based on your energy. It's all based on for me, I love bright colors. For me, it's all based on you as a person. I have seen different types of vision boards. Some people use vision boards where they use a lot of images. Some people use vision boards where they use phrases and mantras and power words. Some people use vision boards, a combination of images and words. So it's all based on what energy that, how, it's all based on you as an individual and that energy. But the most important thing is that it has to align with your goals. And it has to align with realistic goals. Right? But also to manifestation happens as well too. And by putting things out there, you manifest it and you say, I want to travel. I want to travel this year. I want to travel to France. And when you believe in the power of manifestation, by putting things out there, what happens, there's a word, oh God. It's slipping me now. But when you are now prone to see things that aligns with that image. So let's say I want to go to France. So what's going to happen now? You're going to see a lot of travel deals for France. Or you
I'll tell you something, right? You are so correct, right? I know every time I have to change my car, right? Every time I change my car, like it was every 3 or 4 years, right? Every time I change my vehicle, right? I'm not a car person. But around the time I want to change, I always see all kind of vehicles that I've never seen before. So I think once if that's your mindset, then you kind of start to see things that
there's
really,
a word. I think it's called
is it called a law of attraction as well?
It is, but there is a I'm looking for the word. Reticular, something that happens in the brain.
Oh, okay. Before we continue there, let me just say something. A friend of mine wanted and was asking, is there an explanation or can we explain the difference between self-confidence and cockiness and how can one distinguish from someone being confident as opposed to someone being cocky?
I think it's the intention behind the behavior.
Okay. Like you could walk into a room and you're confident. That doesn't mean you're cocky. You just
no, right?
Because you're confident about who you are, right?
Right,
and
but
you could be really cocky because you think you're the best thing that God has created, right? And that's a level of cockiness.
But it's also based on the person who's receiving it as well too, and your impression of that person. Because that person could be very innocent and say, you know what, I'm walking into this room and I'm minding my business. All of a sudden you say, you know, that person really cocky.
Well, true. That's true, right? Because
so that's your framework too.
No ill intent, but someone might just look at you and think you're cocky. You think you're
yes.
and you're really a down-to-earth person and don't even think about it, right?
So it's all about perception.
Perception. Yes, you're right. Perception. Thank you for that. And sorry for
Yeah.
breaking your trend of thought.
No. This is good. This is good. This is good. It's all about perception.
It's all about
And
perception.
but you know what? Too, it's all about your mindset, and that's where it goes to. Because what happens is that it is tied to your mindset. It's tied to your past experiences. And so if you've been around people that who have an air about them that's based on past experiences, then you put that label on everybody you see.
I'll tell you something. I'm someone who really believe in if you want to progress, if you want to see changes in your life, surround yourself with people that have the same mindset.
Yeah,
Because if
energy.
you're around negative people, you will keep having negativity in your life. If you
Yeah.
want to propel, if you want to achieve something in life, and I'll tell you, don't worry about friends with, or people will tell you, oh, you think you're this and you think you're that now. You think you're too big or you're too this to be in my company. And I'm saying never look down at people, but I'm
Mhm.
saying sometimes you have to surround yourself with people that will elevate you instead of people that will keep you down.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the images. You want me to show
Yes, please.
the images, and then also there's an opportunity for anybody who wants to do their vision board. I'm actually doing a vision board boot camp, which is going to be from next Sunday, which is the 16th to the 30th.
Okay.
We have that link as well. So if
Yeah.
they want to connect with me, you'll get the opportunity to do an assessment. You'll get the opportunity also to work one-on-one with me. Um, Work with me. Let's talk about what are some of your goals and actually design a vision board. So
I want to I'm very keen and very interested because I told you I'll be one of the first individuals to sign on, right? I know I did say that.
that's
So I want you
fine.
to send me the link.
It's
I'm really
actually
interested. And
in the
one of the things you
PowerPoint.
told me about that too that I was really happy about too. It's FREE. It's free. There's
Can
no
you give
charge, right?
can you let me give me
I
the
think I've made you host.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, you did.
Yeah. Let me ask you, whilst you
Go
getting,
ahead.
I know women could do multiple things. If it was me, I'd have to say, no, hold on, let me
No, that's
change
fine.
things
Go ahead.
first.
I'm listening.
Let me ask you, in terms of people are very funny and they talk about confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm gonna talk to you about my plans, you want to assess where I'm at, I'm assuming that I'm gonna be telling you confidential things about myself.
Exactly.
So one of my questions is, how can we be sure that whatever we share is going to be confidential? And I ask that question, but I ask it not just for myself, but for the individuals who are on here tonight.
As in any therapy practice, we actually have a mental health practice where I hire therapists as well as I'm a life coach and also an LPCA, licensed professional associate. Um, that's the first thing. The key thing is having the confidentiality of the situation really key, and also to people are vulnerable at that stage, and in order for us to foster growth and development, we have to make sure that confidentiality is something
Thank you.
that's
I
the
know that.
given.
I just wanted you to share that because
Yeah.
that's a very that's something that I've heard a lot of people say about how am I sure that everything remains confidential. Before we talk about what you're showing on screen, let me say good night to DJ Eric. Angel, good night to you. Angel, good night to you. Nadine again. Virl, good night. I just want to say good night, and I want to say thank you guys so much for joining us. Um, it's all yours now, Doc.
Yes, so the Vision Board Bootcamp is an opportunity for us to um, put into practice what we're talking about. If you kind of do it by yourself, um, we're going to assess your breakthroughs, develop goals and strategies for 2022, design your vision board. You also get to do a one-on-one with me, and it's free. Sign up today. The seats are limited. When you get on there, it's actually designed as a course, but we're actually going to have a Zoom where we're going to connect with everybody. And I think it's a nice way for us to really talk about assessing where you are in terms of your different stages and the different dimensions of your life and your stages of breakthrough. Because this is the year where we're going to master our breakthroughs, and move to the next best dimension, best version of yourself.
Cool. Let me ask. So on the vision board, sorry, are you gonna like send, sorry, for the boot camp? Is it like a questionnaire kind of thing, or
Yes.
you just okay?
Yes. So once they link, once they connect and they sign up, everything is gonna be right there.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
remember, you have to send me the link, okay?
I just did. It's actually right. Okay,
Oh, you
I'll send
just
it to
did?
you again.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And also, if they want to get in touch with me, I am a life coach. And also, I have mental health therapists as well who work with me. And so, let's talk about mapping and also not only mapping, but also developing a game plan for the year 2022. And as a life coach, I'm going to work with you. Not everybody wants to talk to a therapist, but as a life coach is going to help you through this process. So let's talk about the next best version. Let's talk about exactly what are some of your goals, understanding who you are, understanding the power of your story, understanding and developing a blueprint, understanding that your story is through your story, we can create the blueprint for purpose in your life. And as a midwife of purpose, that's what I do.
All right, thank you. Let's have a look and see what a vision board looks like for some of us who do not know what it looks like.
Let's go back. So these are some examples of a vision board. This one is a combination of words and images. This person there's a lot of stuff. I guess this was 2018. Family, road trip, fun, food. That person wanted to lose 15 pounds. Collaborate, the power of sharing. So that's one. Um, Wait, let's
And
go
and
back.
and when you do your vision board, and then you go back and every 3 months you assess where you are, right?
Well, your strategies.
Yeah.
You assess your strategies to get to those
Okay.
goals.
Okay.
So, a vision board, you could put it up in your room. You could put it up in a place where you'll see it often. A lot of people are also putting it on their phones as well. I know someone who did a screensaver with theirs. So every time they turn on their phone, it is right there. So it reminds them of some of the goals that they want to accomplish. So you want to put it up in a place where you'll always see it.
You
A
always
lot
see
of
it.
people are doing digital vision boards right now. So, but you want it to ignite your spirit every time you see it, and that's the whole idea about a vision board, to
All right.
ignite that spirit.
Cool.
So you
Oh,
come into that room after a hard day, like you said today, or whatever you're going through, and you know what? Your goal is expansion of this radio. So you need to put something there, collaborate. Where do you want to see the show going,
yeah. Yeah.
right? And you're gonna put that in a place. So every time you feel like you're dragging through this, you're gonna look up and say, okay, you know what? But what is my strategy to get there?
Wow. All right. That's interesting. I think for me, the one of I think might be, and I don't know, probably the most difficult part for other people too, is we can assess where we are
Mm-hmm.
because you know where you are. Knowing where you are is easy. Knowing where you want to go, it's easy too. But it's kind of the
The
in
gap
between, like the gap we spoke about.
and
That's where the
strategies.
problem is. What is
Yeah.
the strategy, and
But
how
also
do I?
to accountability. And that's where life coach comes in. Accountability
Okay, accountability.
and
You
support.
plan, you plan, you execute, and you make sure that you achieve the things that you want to achieve, and you make sure that you're accountable to. Are you accountable to yourself, or are you accountable to somebody else?
Or you have someone in your life that is going to help you through this process.
Right. Okay.
And that's where I come in.
All right. I got you. So we say, okay, every 3 months, where we are, or we'll get on our regular calls and say, okay, where are we now? Did we do this? We're supposed to accomplish X, Y, and Z by a certain
Exactly.
time. Have we done this? How's it going?
Yes.
What are some of the trials that you're having, or what are some of the things that keep you back? So yeah,
Correct.
thank you, thank you. You can stop sharing your screen now. Thank you so much.
I'm show my number if they want to
Oh
get
yeah,
in touch with me.
yes.
On Facebook, Instagram, Dr. Jackie Evans Phillips. Email Jackie at drjackiephillips.com. My phone number, the Life Changes Center. We're in Hartford, Connecticut, and our website.
Thank you for that. And then, of course, I have that information. I'll post that up as well on on our Facebook page as well, so people can have access to it and to see it. Like I say, I'm gonna be one of the first individuals who sign up. So I am going to sign up. So guys, I want you to follow me and sign up too. Will Harris James, you just said, Peter, I will add you. I will I will add you on my vision board. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you mean that you're going to add me to help me accomplish my goal of making Bouyon a good show. Maybe that's what you mean. I don't know. You
That's
know.
good though. Breathe.
But thank you, bro. Thank you so much.
That is good.
Yes, she wants to add me. She was gonna add me on her vision board.
So maybe she wants to come on the show.
She's more than welcome. You
Yeah.
know, I've always said to my guest, to not my guests, but to the audience, that if you want to come on Bouyon, you want to come on even sidewalk talking, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation and let's make it happen. We can make anything happen. You know, all things are possible. You know.
And you see how easy that was for her? Let's say that was her goal. She just said it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now look at
Exactly.
that.
You know what I mean? To come and Bouyon, yes. Easy. Like my son says, easy peasy lemon squeezy. You know, like anything else, all good things must come to an end. You know, I call you Jackie most times, so I'll say Jackie if you don't mind. I
That's
say
fine.
Doc as well. I say Doc, Dr. Evans Phillips. I call you all kind of names, right?
That's all right.
But anyway, Doc, I want to give you a minute just to kind of like address the audience. Anything you would like to share with them, feel free to do so now.
Yes. So no matter where you are in life, make 2022 a year of mastering your breakthroughs. So if you are right now where you feel that you are soaring, um, I would say keep on soaring and break that glass ceiling to the next level. Whether if you feel that you're just moving through and you move to the next level, no matter where you are, I want to encourage everyone to break that glass ceiling from that box where you are to the next dimension, because there is so much more within you. There's greater inside of you. The fact that we're alive, the fact that we are here today, that means that there is more. And so let's make 2022 a year where we are able to break glass ceilings in your healing, break glass ceilings in your relationships, break glass ceilings in your finances, in your health, wherever, whatever you're going through. Let's move into more. Let's move into a stage of more. Let's develop that strategic plan for your life as the CEO of your life and move towards the next best version. Connect with
Mhm.
me. I am here to help you on that journey. drjackiephillips.com. Connect with me. If you know of someone who needs to connect and to develop, it's beyond a vision board, but just need that life coach to help you, reach out to me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackie. Thank you so much. You know, I want to say that every year, you know, a lot of us plan. A lot of us decide we probably most times we like certain aspects of our life, but we also want to elevate and to make other aspects of our lives better, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we, for whatever reason, something keeps us or prevents us from doing that,
Yes.
from taking that next step to better
Cycles
who
of
we are.
captivity.
Yeah. So I want to encourage you tonight. I want to encourage you today to take that bold step. Take it with me
Yes.
because I'm taking that step. I'm signing up for that boot camp. I'm
Amen.
signing up for that boot camp. You know, I want to encourage you today to do that, to sign up for the boot camp or even speak to somebody or try to do your vision board. Try to, you know, make a difference in your life or make a change that you've been held back, but you want to move forward. Break the chains that are holding you back. And if you need someone to help you do that, no better place or no better person to talk to, but of course, my guest here tonight, Dr.
Thank you.
Jackie Evans Phillips, will help you
Thank
do
you
that.
so much, as always.
You know, I want to thank you for, you know, joining us on the show. Before I leave, let me just read one more comment from Gemma Things Change. It said, Peter D, always your guest, as always, your guest shared some information that can use to help me get through what I have on my drawing board for this year. Thank
Excellent.
you, Dr. Jackie. And Colleen Dennis said, thank you, Dr. Jackie. Adele says, a very helpful information, Adela. So once again, I want to thank everyone who has joined us tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week on Bouyon. And I want to say, Dr. Jackie,
As always,
thank you so much.
thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk very soon. I know we'll talk very soon.
Definitely, definitely.
Take care of you. And thank you once again. Thank
Thank
you
you
guys
so
so
much.
much.
Have a good one. Good night,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you. See you next
Take
week,
care.
guys.
We'll talk.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.